Well, you've been the pastor of the Summit Church for 14 years. So talk a little bit about your experience, especially in the area of missions, and how that might shape the way that you would want to lead and give leadership to the convention.
Yeah, well, my own call to the pastorate, as I often tell people here at the Summit Church, it began as a call to the mission field. And I never, through the IMB, I never really felt like God pulled back that call. I felt like when God directed me to this church, it was in an area where there's a lot of younger people, and I knew it was going to be a mobile church. I felt like He just told me that the way I was going to participate in the call to missions was going to be as a pastor. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's some unique things that God writes each of our story differently, but I think that every church exists for the purpose of the Great Commission in our community and around the world. And if a church is not participating in the Great Commission, it really has no point in existing. I can't remember who said it, but God doesn't come up with a mission for His church. He formed a church for His mission. Right. Well, in the same way, God doesn't. You got to look and say, man, I got all these people. I got 46,499 churches in the SBC. What should I do with them? Mm-hmm. God formed our convention for the sake of the Great Commission, which means that everything we do, every dollar we spend, every ounce of effort ought to be run through kind of the sieve of, is this helping the Great Commission? Is there a more efficient way for us to pursue the Great Commission? One of the most influential people in my life, Dr. Paige Patterson, who was president of Southeastern when I went to seminary there. Dr. Patterson, I remember him in the midst, he taught my theology class, and I remember one afternoon, Luke 19:10, the Son of Man has come to seek and save that which was lost. And he said, all these theological battles we were in with the conservative resurgence, because we didn't fight these things for the sake of good theology. Yeah. We fought them for the sake of the Great Commission. And theology is important regardless, he said, but it's those doctrines that threaten the urgency of the Great Commission. They're the ones that we need to fight about the hardest with the most fervency. And I feel like that ought to be applied to everything. Is it helping us seek and save the lost?